What's up, YouTube? So my original dyeing video was kind of done in the moment. I was kind of capturing these things as it was happening first time for me and experimenting with it and stuff. I decided to post it because I thought it was kind of an interesting process, but now I've spent quite a few hours working on this sort of thing over the last couple of days, so I wanted to do kind of a more to the point, a little bit more informed video on it. So here it is. This is the intro. The next step will be showing you guys how to take the stamp off. But first, I'm going to talk to you about what you need to make this happen, all the materials you need for the project. So you need pure acetone to remove the stamp. Like I said, the next thing we're going to do is remove the stamp on this Valkyrie. You need paper towels or cotton swabs or whatever, simple stuff, a cloth, rag, anything. And then you have plain old Rit Dye, you know, off the shelf at whatever store. On the Rit Dye, look in the description because I'm going to put a link there for you guys about how Rit is apparently changing their formula and only certain colors will still dye discs and stuff like that. It's kind of tricky. If you go to the store right now and you buy black off the shelf, it should work. Maybe, especially if you ask somebody like, you have any older stock of it laying around, maybe that's possible, or your store will just naturally have had it sitting around for a few years because it's not a super popular product. Who knows? You should be okay though. But I'll put it in the descriptions just so you can be sure about it, waste your money. And then some just plain electrical tape. This stuff is $1 for 2 skinny rolls, and it's really thin and kind of cheapo, but it seems pretty good. It's as good as any other electrical tape I used. I think the thinness is nice though, because it's more versatile as far as you can do stuff with lines as thin as that, and then thicker and stuff like that. So. Yeah, so again, this is 2 rolls in this package. So that's materials. On to the next part. We'll be taking the stamp off this Valkyrie. Alright guys, I think you'll find it interesting just how quick these stamps come off once you use the right product. I used to mess around with like rubbing alcohol and stuff I had laying around because I didn't want to spend the $6 or $7 or whatever it is to get acetone, but there's really no way around it. The acetone is going to work, and everything else is not really going to do a very good job. Maybe with some alcohol and a whole lot of elbow grease you can eventually like grind it off the disc, but I don't recommend it. Alright, so you get a little acetone on here, and once it starts to leach into that stamp, it should come right off. Like magic, guys. See? Bomb. It's pretty awesome. This bomber works really good. Bam, it's gone. So that's all there is to it. From there, we're gonna apply the electrical tape, and then I'll give it a dunk in the dye bath. So once you remove the stamp, rinse it off good. Be careful with the acetone too, guys. It's flammable. Definitely treat it with respect. Store it in a safe place, all that stuff. So yeah, give it a good rinse, and it's ready to apply the electrical tape. So that'll be the next step. Okay guys, so now all you gotta do is just put the electrical tape on here. This one's just gonna be a pinstripe pattern. Let's put it on. Make sure it's nice and flat, smooth, no kinks in it or anything. Fold it over so this edge is real nice and clean too. And then you can look at it really close, see if there are bubbles along the edge. That will let the dye go into the underneath the tape. And you won't have a nice line. So as long as that's good, should be nice clean lines when you're done. So that's the first one. I'll finish it up and then we'll go and dye it. Okay, so there's the Alright, so there's the electrical tape applied to it. You can hold it up to the light and see the lines and stuff. It's pretty cool. Then I'll take one of these defunct gift cards and use it to make sure it's all nice and smooth, make sure all these edges are nice and clean. The tighter you can get the tape on there, the cleaner the dye will come out. So yeah, there's that step. Now moving on to actually dyeing it. Alright guys, so it looks good, it's applied well. I'm ready to dunk it. Leave some of these little tabs so you can hold on to it to actually dip it in. I'm going to leave these sections open to be totally black and then have the pinstripes in the middle. Here we go. So take the box of Rit Dye. You mix it with about 20 ounces of just hot tap water is how I did it. Stir it up. This is not all of that. I did a bunch of other discs in a big aluminum pan, and I kind of crimped it and poured that into a bottle. And then I was trying to use this because all I had, because I got rid of that aluminum pan foolishly. So this works fine. It's like a cake pan or something, a 12 or 13 inch cake pan. But I would definitely recommend just using a disposable one, mostly because you can just crimp it and pour it out. I'm not sure how I'm going to get this dye back out of this into my bottle to reuse it. And you got to be really careful with this stuff, guys. If I knock this over on my kitchen floor, it will, I'm not getting it out of the floor. The floor would have to be replaced pretty much. So be super careful. Here we go. You want it to be pretty warm when you're dyeing it. And try not to make fun of me too much for the choosy drawing on the bottom of my disc in my first Ace disc from a few years ago. But yeah, you want it to be kind of warm. So if you mix it right off the bat with warm tap water, that's a pretty good temperature. It's also nice to put it on the stovetop, extremely low, with an electric stovetop at least. I don't know if you would want to do it with gas. That might make it too hot. I think it would be too hot. So just keep it warm. Still, you want to be able to touch it, but should feel warm. And I'm just gonna let it sit here for a long time. You could probably get away with only doing it for like 10 minutes, and it's really dependent upon how dark you want it to get. I'm gonna go ahead and do it for like a half hour, just because I want it to be nice and dark. So I'll come back and show you how to take the tape off. Final results. Alright, so I threw the whole operation back on the stove. I think the dye was a little cool. Wasn't soaking in as much as I want, so warming it up a little bit. And I'll try it again. I'm going to do it for another probably 20 minutes just to be safe. Didn't look very dark. There's a couple of air bubbles and stuff when I lifted it up, so I'm just going to let it ride for another little while. I'm going to get some heat going, and then we'll come back and finish it. Okay guys, so I dyed it a little bit longer. Something I forgot to mention earlier on is that when you're placing it in, place it in once, right? Let it get kind of wet, and then gently lift it up, and then place it back in on an angle, and that will help the bubbles roll up and out, and not be, because there's an air bubble right on the surface. It'll block the dye. It kind of just happens. It's not really bothering me too much in the other instances where it happened. So whatever. So. Okay, that looks a lot darker. That looks much better. So now I'm going to take it straight from here, get it under the running water. Got a little soap on this paper towel. I used to have some soap on it. It's still good enough. You can wipe down. Then I'll peel it off while the water's running, underneath the running water. So if there's any ink trapped up here, you'll wash it away. You won't give it a chance to sink in and where you don't want it to be. Okay, there you go. Not bad. Pretty clean. When you just do straight lines like this, it's pretty easy to get it to be a pretty clean line, even with that cheap electrical tape. So there it is, guys, finished product. Should look pretty cool. So yeah, from here I'm just going to wash it with a little more soap, dry it off, and it's going straight back in the bag, no problem. All done, don't have to worry about it. Safe to touch, like anything that doesn't rinse right off is soaked into the disc. And there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.